So, therefore, for people that don't know you, can you like introduce yourself? Who is Gaisol? Who's Tsecho? What have you been through?
One thing I hate is that question because I never know how to answer it because like I think I feel like I'm more than my brand because I haven't really aligned myself to a brand. I've changed brand names through the years and things like that, right? So I would say Gaisol is it's like a manifestation of who I want to be, which is someone who wants to be confident. I struggle with a lot of confidence. I struggle with social anxiety and things like that. Like I don't actually like interviews. I don't like even when it comes to playing. I don't like as soon as the camera comes out. Please. So I'm trying to give myself the confidence in knowing who I am. And so Gaisol is he's a soft, confident, but very down to earth guy. And Careful is more of the counselor, more driven, more kind of soft. That's where it like starts to interlink between the brands as Gaisol and Careful.
Yeah.
Because Careful is truthfully soft. I don't like conflict. I don't like any of that. And I'm this friendly, lucky go guy. I love business. I love people. I don't know. I hope that was enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's calm. So, my question is, Nash, you say Gaisol, right? What language is that in?
So Gaisol is just it's like a word. It's like a made up word.
Oh,
Made up word.
Oh, I thought it was like one of those like native, like
Nah.
Nah. Okay. So you mentioned that your focus is business, mental health, and there's also two sides of you. Right?
Yeah.
So my question is like, how do you balance and which version do you know? Do you feel like you need to take out at which day? How do you decide which version is coming out of you today?
So I like to live Gaisol because that's who I want to be, right? So I don't think it's the two, but I think I'll never get to the point, even if the brand blows up and I say that, I'm Gaisol, I'll never be like, that person that goes by the brand. So I alternate. Like I alternate the two, right? I'm Gaisol when it comes to playing. I'm Gaisol when it comes to studio. Mainly GSL. GSL is the original form of Gaisol, this abbreviated version, and that was more for mixing and whatnot. So I would say when it comes to the two, it's one. Gaisol and Zephyr are one.
That's right.
I want to be free. I want to be free to be who I want to be. I used to be this kid who was always afraid of being, spotlights, being just out there. I was very shy. I'm still very shy. So the two are one. I'm shy and they live together. I'm shy, but the confidence comes out when it needs to come out and when I hope it comes out. Yeah.
Because I don't lie, I feel like also with me, like, I tend to like be shy in like certain situations, like I feel like I don't put myself out there, and honestly, that does, like cause setbacks, especially with like opportunities that I have to put myself out there, So I feel like I also rename what you're saying, bro. And I feel like I'm also working on like getting out of my comfort zone, being my higher self, And yeah, but and honestly, I do fuck with what you're saying. I believe that everyone needs to like reach their higher self, regardless of like how they feel currently. What do you think, bro? I really think like growing up, I was like he said, I was a skinny kid. I was picked on. I was bullied. Like I was really shy. So understanding that now, being able to sit in front of a camera like this, being able to talk about things that are bigger than us, it shows growth. And like he said, all of us are shy. Like we still have that element in us, And I feel like it's just accepting that despite the fact that we're shy, there's now this confidence that we've built in ourselves
to say, okay, we can do this. And that's why we're able to be here. That's why we're able to be here with Zephyr. That's why he's able to tell us about his journey, because he's grown to the point where that confidence is able to show. But now, like you were saying, understanding that you're a DJ, understanding that you work in radio and everything, you do events, confidence is a big thing. And one thing that he always tells me is about like social battery, that drains. How do you balance that? How can a child that's thinking, I want to start something, somebody that's like 16, they want to start a business, they want to be a DJ, how can they navigate that fear of confidence? How can a young rapper post their first song when they have that fear of rejection, they're not confident in their work? What advice would you give them?
So, when I started in a very toxic way. I started by, my brother did basketball, he was a rapper, cool kid in school, so I was like always in his shadow. And I think I got to the point where I was like, you know what, I need to uplift myself. I need to stop being the shy kid, whatever, and I found my element. I think it's really about finding your element. I started ice skating, started doing ice hockey and things like that. And at the ice rink, started doing like events, started DJing there and whatnot. So I really like, one thing I've always really loved is music. And music, I feel like it interlinks everyone, where it allows you to not be the person that you are. I don't know, maybe dancers are different. Dancers, they are the music. You know what I mean? Without music, a dancer is not a dancer. You know what I mean? So, but with regular people, and why I say regular people, it's because like dancing is a form of art. You know what I mean? Yeah, we are art as regular people because there's so much beauty in what we are. But at the same time, if you want to branch into music as a rapper or a DJ or anything like that, right? It's about unlocking that other level of yourself and saying, okay, cool. Now, you're not going to start performing to 100 people or 1,000 people. It's going to be 10 people at a school party or something like that. Mine was DJing at an ice rink where there'll be 200 people, 300. And that's where I feel like I failed myself, because I started getting used to that and then started doing like these events and stuff like that, like back in the day, like Wonderland and things like that. And I'm going to take it back to where I'm at now. I get way more anxious playing in front of 10 people than I do in front of 1,000 to 500 and plus. You know what I mean? Because there's more eyes on, and that's the insecure kid that's inside of me. That's like, so many eyes on me. When you're in front of 1,000 people, there's not too many people you can look at. You know what I mean? Like, maybe lock your eyes on one person, focus on that. If that helps you, but that doesn't help me. I just don't look at people when I play. You know what I mean? I listen to the reaction. So getting into music for someone who wants to get into music, I would say it's like, really find what you want to get into. Maybe you may not know at that point. Like, I started playing hip hop and R&B, and then the wave back then at the ice rink and amongst the kids my age was EDM and things like that. I was still unpopular. You know what I mean? I was 13 playing R&B and hip hop, and then I was like, okay, cool. Let me play some EDM and things like that. And then that's where my rise started. And that's when I was like, okay, cool. People like this. I like it. Maybe not as much, but I like it, and I grew into it, and I moved with it. You know what I mean? So it's finding that little niche that you really mess with, and that's something that you need, because you can't just go in and start doing what everyone wants. You know what I mean? You gotta do what really
Works for you.
Yeah, because I feel like when I play stuff that I don't enjoy myself, and the crowd doesn't enjoy it because I'm not playing at my best. So even now, going to rappers and things like that, a lot of rappers that I've worked with, they all went through phases of writing about things that everyone wants to hear. But it's like, no, people actually want to hear what you're saying. They want to hear your stories. True. Same goes with DJing. So yeah, I'll say getting into it, you just got to know what you want to do and play around with that and see where you land. You know what I mean?
I hear that, nah. Because also another thing, I feel like what holds most people back is their mindset, you know? Someone will have a dream or goal. Okay, you know what? I look up to TK. I want to be a DJ. but then I don't know where to start, or there's still that thought in them that's holding them back, that, yo, am I ready to put myself out there? I feel like most people struggle with the transition
Yeah.
from their old self to like the person they want to become,
True.
How would you say your transition mentally went? How would you say that was?
So what I can say, it's the mindset thing is 50% of it. You know what I mean? Our minds control us. Our minds control us to a point where we don't know ourselves. So I say, fuck the mindset thing.
Yeah.
Fuck the mindset thing. Fuck this whole thing of, you got to be Robin Sharma. You got to be this and this and that. Like, you got to follow in their footsteps. Follow your own footsteps. I think that's something that I always did, is like, I'd always be like, oh no, I want to be like, Casper in your vest. I want to be like this guy. I want to be like that guy. But it never worked for me, because you're not them. You're not them.
Trying
So
to become someone you're not.
literally. But I think that's part of the program of getting into music, is you don't know exactly who you want to be. You have to learn that. That comes through over time. I mean, every big artist that I've sat with or been in a studio with, they all started tiny. They all started doing stuff that like no one really liked. No one's really gonna like you. But like, I don't care who you are, and you say your first track blew you up. Well, it's impossible. No one knew you, and no one knew you. So it's really just it's really one of those things where it's like, you got to take a look at yourself and realize what it is that you actually want to do. Do you want to take over the world, or do you want to blow up your world? You know what I mean? Because I think with music, especially in South Africa, as a black kid, no parent really wants their kids to get into music and things like that. It's like, there's not really money and things like that. So, just like, it's a lot of hurdles that you got to jump through, and the mindset thing comes back into it. Are you going to let your parents, take you down, or your people around you? Because 9 times out of 10, it's the people around you that don't support you. You know what I mean?
That is true.
Yeah.
I think also, on the point that you said about the people around you, I think the people that you keep close to you really determines a lot. So like, when you look at your friends, how many of them are also DJs? How many of them are also building? Don't you think that also influenced you?
That's a good question. And when I think about it, a lot of the guys that I keep around me, they influence me. I mean, Petty J, he's behind the camera right now. He's multifaceted. You know what I mean? That's my beat maker. Like, I produce, but a lot of people don't really know that most of the stuff that I do is made by Petty. I just executively produce, because I can't sit in front of the DAW and do my shit. But it's really those guys that hone in. Some people have the blessing of being able to do both. I was always stuck in that thing of wanting to do both, right? But I can say that the people around me, from the big guys that I've hung out with, your Thumi Kladi, rest in peace, Costa Titch and whatnot, rest in peace. It was really those guys that pushed me, to be who I'm becoming. You know what I mean? So it is the people around you that like shape the person that you're gonna be. They do say that like the people you hang around can either take you down or take you up. You know what I mean? So yeah, I can definitely say that it is the people around me that motivate.
So a person's circle does say a lot about them, and can determine where they can get to.
True. It proves that statement of your network is your net worth.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
No, I like that, bro.
They can either take you down or lift you up.
Because online, even with me, not my side, I feel like, I've had to let go of so many people, because I feel like they weren't just aligning with my values and where I see myself, So do you feel like did you have to like let go of some people because you felt like they weren't in the same journey as you, or like?
So I wouldn't say journey per se, but I guess, everyone has their own way of life. And I I'm slowly accepting that. You know, I had to cut off a lot of people, you know, a lot of my close friends, guys that I grew up with, things like that. Like no hate or anything like that. They were just on their own different journeys, like maybe wanting to become accountants and things like that. And they don't understand what I'm doing. You know, a lot of people will be like, oh, I thought, you know, you're a DJ. What's the actual job? I do a lot of things outside of it, but that's like my main, you know, that's my thing. Yeah, that's the thing that brings me joy and happiness, you know? So, yeah, I mean, cutting people off and, you know, those painful things, but I wouldn't say everyone you're going to meet is going to align with you. That's one thing. You know, I get the whole thing of cutting people off, maybe because they're bad for you, they take you down. But this thing about life, at least how I understand it, is you got to have those people in your life because they can soar in their own things, you know, or they're completely fine at the rate that they're at. And that makes you sit back and think about the things that, you know, that you're doing. You know, I had to think about that. I don't want to be a superstar. I don't. That's not my goal. I want to be happy. I want to one day have kids and things like that. And like, you know, chill at home. I don't want to be touring the world and things like that. I love gigs, but like, you know, there's on peak for me and then there's off peak. You know what I mean? I decline bookings when I'm not feeling good. I just like, you know, it's when I just want to blow, you know. I think it took me a while to get there because like before I would take every opportunity handed to me and that was killing me slowly. You know what I mean? Like I can look back and look at the days where I would be performing 2-3 weeks in a row. And that's like, I felt empty after that. But now I perform maybe twice or thrice a week. And it's like, I'm like, that balance is cool. I get to work during the week and things like that. Then hit the club nights, whatever. That's cool for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to sit back and be like, nah, you know, DJing and production and music and the life is what I want. No, I want to be able to live a regular life. And a lot of people look at it like, oh no, but you're selling yourself off short. Maybe for some people, but like, I like the balance.
Because I feel like me thinking about it now, I feel like after what you just said, now I start thinking, oh now, okay, so what happens now when you get recognition and now people are booking you internationally? You know, are you not gonna buy there?
So with that, I mean, I got a booking for Bali this year. Gonna do it. I did it 2 years ago as well.
Shut up.
I got a booking for the UK for the first time this year. It's a 2-week tour. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that shit. But like when I come back, it's back to life. You know what I mean? And when I say back to life, I don't mean back to reality. Because that's the problem. That's the problem with the mindset that a lot of people have. It's like, okay, cool. Once you're done playing, it's back to reality. It's back to the sad life. Life is what you make of it. You know what I mean? So I don't think I want to get to the point where it's, you know, touring 24/7 and things like that. I still want to do my regular day job and whatnot and the things that make me happy. You know, I'm part of radio now. I haven't been part of radio for the past 2 years, you know, about 3 years. And I'm happy with that. You know, I'm still working like 9 to 3. And then, you know, some of the days I go off early because I work with family business and I do my shit. I go on Bogarts. I do my show. Cool. That's my joy. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So you know how people say like we attract most of the things we don't want. So with you, you're saying you don't want to be a superstar. No?
Yeah.
And let's say if that comes to you, you know, now you have fame now. No? So how do you plan to balance that with your ordinary life?
So, like I said, man, it's keeping yourself grounded. It's about the people that you keep around you. I don't think the people around me that would allow that because that's not my wishes. You know what I mean? The people that I keep around me keep me very grounded. They keep me very stable. They keep me into my day to day. You know what I mean? So it's like that for me, I believe will never happen. I can't tell, but I know for a fact that I'll try my best not to allow that to ever happen. You know what I mean?
Because one would think that you're limiting yourself to reaching your full potential, you know, by blocking away such opportunities. You know, but here's why, guys. You know, TK does not want to get there. You know, he just wants to live his ordinary life. You know, and yeah. Do you have any question?
But I feel like also understanding, for example, you don't want the superstar life, You don't want that fame where you can't go to a shopping center, you can't go out with your family. But also understanding what you're building. Like you said, you have UK tours, you have a tour coming up in Bali. You must understand that people are going to want more of you from the quality of your sets. For example, just the other day, you had a set at Street Bar. You've been frequenting Street Bar. There's a lot of things that you're doing. Like you said, you're on radio. So there's growth that's happening. Guy Soul is being put out there. But now you must understand that Guy Soul and TK are the same person. They have the same life. But there has to be a balance. In the beginning, like you said, you had gigs for like 2 weeks straight. There was no balance. And I feel like that's why you were able to get to this point, even though it was destroying you. What advice do you have for like somebody that's starting out? They're gonna hear you say what you said, and they're gonna have that mentality that I need to be balanced. Do you agree that in the beginning, it's best to be unbalanced, to find your footing, find what you want, work hard, and once you start building your platform, that's when you start to get that balance?
Completely. I agree with that. Like, thing is, you can't start with balance. That's impossible. When you're born, like literally when you're born, you start off walking without balance.
Yeah.
Then you find your balance. True. So, like, I think going back to, I forget who said it, but the people you keep around, they will define that. You know, like with everything popping off and things like that, the events I've got going on, I wanna just keep myself in place. You know what I mean? With that whole thing of, you know, going to the store, you know, getting recognized and things like that, that shit happens. It still happens, but you allow it to get to a certain point. I've seen it with Keenan. I got to see it with Keenan. I got to see it with a lot of my brews. Yeah, like a lot of the brews enjoy it, but a lot of them personally don't like it. But it's too late. I'm monitoring myself to get to let myself know that like I'm never going to allow that to happen. You know what I mean? So it's really about respecting your personal space, respecting your boundaries and things like that. I mean, I was playing Cheap 2 weeks ago, had people coming by the booth and things like that, and I was like, yo, just mind my space. Yeah. Move back, go back to the dance floor, let's chill. I'll get you a drink and whatever. Cool. But like, my space is my space. When I'm done with the set, I don't blow them, I vibe. Yeah. You know what I mean? Unless I'm with the boys and we're just chilling, like, yeah. But it's really about family. It's about family and friends. You know, the people you keep around. They will define whether that happens or not. You know what I mean? Like, I can't think of the perfect example, like the name, but this crew of mine, he's big, but his crew, they won't allow that. You know what I mean? Like, I booked them for one of the days at a show that I had last year. Man's usually rolls up with like bodyguards and like crew and things like that. But he was like, I'm keeping it calm. I'm keeping it calm now. Like, he's tired. He's keeping it calm. When he goes out, it's just him and his bros. He doesn't try to do too much. Because why? He got that balance. And that's what when I get to that point, that's what I want to do.
True. Now that's real of you, bro. Because I feel like another thing, most people focus on like their goals, like being a DJ so much to a point where like they start losing their self-identity, you know? And a perfect example would be, I don't know if you know the streamer Kai Sinach, you know? Yeah. So like he was streaming, then now I think he made a video about like he quit or something and he wants to start his like own shit, you know? And honestly, when I saw that, like it just made me think that, okay, as much as you can have so much success in whatever you're doing, now you still need to keep a part of you, you know? And that's what I like about you. Like, you don't let whatever you're doing like define who you are, you know? You're still you, but then these other things are just add-ons, you know? They just are part of you. They don't make you, you know? And I fuck with that, bro, you know?
They just amplify you. But also, with that being said, it's understanding that one thing that you really prioritize is your mental state, your mental health, and just knowing you, speaking to you. That's one thing that you really take care of. So what happened for you to get to a point where you're like, no, I need to prioritize mental health?
So I didn't really want to get into this. I didn't give you the brief, but I didn't want to get into it. But like, I think I'm comfortable in getting into it. Like when I was at my peak, which was like last year, I got too ahead of myself. And, you know, that's when people were saying like, yo, you're an alcoholic. You're an alcoholic. You got to blow them. Then I went into the program, you know, I went to rehab for 3 weeks to a month. You know what I mean? And that really set me, because like I hurt a lot of people and I'm still making up for those hurt. It's not an overnight thing, but you know, like it's one of those things where I wasn't prioritizing my mental health, and that's what I do now. Is I prioritize that. Even if I'm in a club with alcohol and things like that, Petty and my crew know that Petty, so they know that like, yo, man's doesn't drink or anything like that. They can drink, they can do them. I'm at the point, you know, I'm comfortable with myself now. You know, I get them drinks. It can be on my tab, whatever. But like, it's like, that wasn't me. It wasn't a good look for me. You know what I mean? So that's me prioritizing my mental health. It's when I don't feel like doing shows, I don't do shows. I decline shows.
True.
Or I close my bookings for a certain amount of time. You know what I mean? And that's me prioritizing me. You know, it's allowing me to be me. And the true me is me without alcohol, me without influence, everything around me. You know what I mean?
Truly.
Can I ask you this now? So like, what do you do now? Like when you're feeling like super stressed, you know, like just a lot's happening. Like how do you ground yourself?
I come through to a shisha, have a good time, have a pipe. A pipe is more, that's my life now. And shout out to Aisha, you know, big dog at a shisha. Like, you know, this is like a really cool place where I get to like mellow down, chill, just be me, you know, like, yeah, like that's just, yeah, it's like people that I grew with. I grew with Aisha, like I've known Aisha now for like 7 years. So I got to like really see her work ethic and things like that. And like, you know, her friendliness and things like that. And it's like, you know, to like being around people like that. I think to answer your question is like, you know, being around people that respect you, love you, you know, I like my own space, you know, I prefer my own space, but like, you know, when I can't have that, it's, you know, me just coming here. But when I have my own space, it's booking myself into a hotel, maybe outside of town or having a local stay, you know what I mean? Turning off the laptop, just binge watching, you know, that's me.
Okay, that is fair. But there's also like this thing, no one like we say lock in to the point where we want to have the life that we see on Instagram, we want to have the growth. One thing that I noticed is you'll see a DJ perform in such a big set, and then in his personal life it seems like everything is flourishing. But like you said, the mental side of things are just torn, like it's messed.
I like that because when I got out of rehab, I got into counseling, and then I wanted to actually get into counseling. So I was obviously being counseled, and then I wanted to get into counseling and help people. You know, so I'm now certified to do counseling. So I do trauma counseling, addiction, and marriage and relationship. So, you know what I mean? Like it's, with that, I get to, when I look at things like that, before they used to faze me, but like when I got into it now, it's like, I get to like really, really chill and like not look at things with envy. You know, I can look at it as a goal, parts of it. Because that's not my life. I'll never be them. So it's like, you know, I get to be me. You know, I get to chill. You know, I get to, you know, yeah, having a Bentley is nice, whatever. Maybe I'll get to that point, but I don't really want a Bentley. You know, I want a house where, you know, my family grows and things like that. I'm very family oriented, like where I want peace, you know.
True.
Seeing those things, like, especially now you talk about like, you know, crazy DJ sets and things like that. That's a lot of pressure to me. It still is. I'm still working on that. But one of my mentors, Paul Kuiper, shout out. I get to, you know, when it comes to a big person being like on before me, it's like, it's daunting because it's like, how do I control the crowd the way that they controlled it? But then I remember at the end of the day, it's about my story. It's what I want them to feel. I'm going to make them feel different way, and it still goes up. You know what I mean? So yeah, like I try to put myself out of body and now just relax. Even when I see those things, you know, it's pressure, but it's, yeah, that's the thing that comes in music and entertainment, is someone is always going to be better than you. I'll never get to the point where I say I'm the biggest out there. I don't think there's anyone there that's the biggest. I mean, even Michael Jackson had envy for certain people, and Michael Jackson was Michael Jackson.
True.
So who am I to be like, oh no, I'm bigger than this guy who's been in the game for 20 years? It's like, come on. I think that goes back to ego, and that's one of the things I had to let go with my sobriety. It's one of the things that's taught in the program. It's like letting go of that ego. The ego was the thing that drove my addiction. Yeah.
Can you tell us, like, how do one let go of the ego, actually?
Daily practices, it's mindfulness, it's sitting with yourself and realizing who you are, realizing that I'm not them, I'm not Aisha, I'm not this, I'm not Petty J, I'm not you. You know what I mean? Like, I see your videos online and, you know, I'm like, yo, I want to do stuff like that. You know, that's cool. Like, that's stuff I want to do. But like, you know, it's like looking at it with inspiration rather than envy. That's the ego gone, because envy is the ego.
That is
It's the way that you frame your mind to look at things.
So it's understanding that you are a separate entity from whatever's around you. No, that's real. That's real. Because I also think, like, I feel like I have a big ego, low-key, you know? And it low-key gets to me sometimes, because, like, every time I see someone who's better, like, I'm very competitive, you know? I got to tell myself, nah, bro, I want to do better, you know? I'm going to get there, or even better, you know? And honestly, I feel like with me, saying all that, nah, like, I feel like also in that process, like, it will also affect me, you know, because then it only gets bigger, you know. I'm going to want more and more and more and more, you know. And I don't know what you think about having power, you know. I don't know, what are your thoughts on power, actually?
So, I mean, power is power at the end of the day. Like, I believe I was at the peak of my power last year when I went in to rehab. But that was my uncontrolled element of my life. I like what you said, though. You know, it's always wanting to improve yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that's ego. I think that's wanting better for yourself, trying to get yourself to a certain point. You know what I mean? I think one of the people that I really look at is Aisha, who's sitting on the call while standing there. She started at Shisha small in Campus Square and moved up here. You know what I mean? And it's like really, really dope. Like, I always look at people like that, and it's not wanting to settle. And that's a powerful move in itself, but that's a good sense of power. You know what I mean? So there's a good type of ego. I would never say don't have ego. I still have ego. You have to have ego to better yourself. But it's the way that you frame it. You know what I mean? It's the way that you put it. It's wanting to do better for yourself. It's wanting to push, right? But as long as you're not pushing yourself into the grave, because that's the signs of capitalism. You know, that's the way that our economy works. And I believe once you let that control you, it's shy. It's shy for you. You're going to lose yourself. You know what I mean? But wanting to do better for yourself, always want to do better for yourself. Always try to up the ante, but know when to stop. And that's the part of addiction that I'm still, you know, trying to come to terms with, is when do I stop? And I think I've found like a really good balance, you know, because of the people around me. You know, it's slow down. Eddie will always say like, yo, dog, you're doing a lot, but like, slow down. You know what I mean? Like, I used to be that bro that never used to sleep. 3 hours, be in studio, whatever, fly to work, whatever. Cool. That's cool. But like, for a certain amount of time, grind. I'm not gonna lie, grind. That's something that I still do. Like, grind, yo. Like, grind, do your shit. But don't kill yourself doing it. I think it's going back to actually what you said, balance. That's it. Balance yourself.
I get it. And my question is, now, let's say you said you're family oriented now. say 5 years, 10 years down the line, you know, now you have a partner, you have a family now. Do you let go of all this that you've established so you can focus on being a family-oriented man? Or what?
I think I'll get to that point. Like, you know, Caiaphas, he's a family man at heart. Like, you know, he loves being a fan. You know, my family situation is a bit toxic, but like, you know, that's just life, right? You know, I want to build that family. You know, I want to be there for my family. I want to be there for my daughter or son, you know, that thing. I want to see my child grow up, and I want to be there for my wife or, you know, my partner, you know what I mean? So I don't think I'll ever let go of it. Like, I'm also into like helping artists grow and things like that, like mentoring and things like that. I've been mentoring for like 4 years, you know, so mentoring and things like that, I'll never stop. Music, I'll probably slow down and things like that. You know, once I'm at a comfortable point, just giving myself balance. There'll be times of unbalance, but there's always time to reflect and look at yourself, you know? Yeah.
But how do people get in touch with you in regards to mentoring? How can a young artist watching this get in contact with Guysol for guidance?
I just say, hit me up in DM, man. Hit me up in DM on Instagram, Guysol_music_. I'm always there to answer the questions, whatever, you know? Yeah.
So to all the young artists out there who need mentorship, you found it here. Here's the plug at Unspoken Secrets of Success. This is the only place you can find it, you know? Hit up my boy TK here. He's gonna help you. Yeah, we'll put his Instagram down the description.
Yeah. Guys, it's not a paid promo, but just look at the spot. This is a shisha, guys. When you're looking for a place to come with the boys, looking for a cool night out, a relaxed place, a shisha experience here in Rosebank.
I think before we even sign off, I want to see if I can get Aisha in. Aisha?
Of course.
Oh, she's on the phone, I think. I think Aisha's on the phone.
Yeah, she's
She's still on the phone, but
I think she deserves a shout out.
No, Aisha definitely deserves a shout out. But at Shisha Experience in Rosebank, it's a spot. It's a spot.
Yeah,
I also think, in terms of you, there's one thing that I really don't understand. Like, I see reels of it, story updates, but what exactly do you do on radio? How exactly do you manage that?
I mean, you know, man, it's balance. Balance. Like, I do a lot of things. I do business. I do radio. I do all that shit. You know, and it's really just about balance.
True.
Finding what seems to be the thing for the moment. That's what keeps you going.
So you don't believe in doing one thing and mastering that?
No, because I'm not a master at anything. I forget what the term is. I don't know.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, I'm a jack of all trades. Thanks, TJ.
No problem.
I'm a jack of all trades, not a master of anything. You know what I mean? So, I mean, some people can do it, but I can't. You know, I can't sit still doing one thing. I have to do. I think people on the camera are gonna see me. I think people on the camera are gonna see me getting up, doing something. Like I think I'm low key ADHD, but like, yeah, like I just can't do one thing for too long. Yeah.
Yeah. But also, like, just there on the tip of like being a jack of all trades, I used to think you have to master one thing. Once you master what you're good at, then you become better at it consistently. But I think it's understanding that you can't limit yourself to one thing.
Yeah.
Even if you spend 50 years on one thing, you'll never master it. You'll probably be better than most. But you limited yourself. For example, if you limited yourself to being a DJ, you'd never find exactly how you connect with mentor, your passion for mentoring and everything. It's about understanding that you only have one life, so why limit yourself to one day? And now one life, why not experience everything that we can? With that being said, why not build? For example, you've been building, like I said, for years. Since you were 13, you started playing. But now you understand. You don't want to be a superstar, but you want to build to the point that you want to be at. You understand that and you value that. So I think it's also just saying your goals shouldn't be determined by what you see other people having. It needs to be internal. You need to understand what you want for yourself, what brings you peace, to what extent can you manage it, and not try and push past that. It's not about limiting yourself, but it's just about understanding who you want to be and where you're going to be in life.
And the most important thing is balance, guys. If you ever want to try other things, learn to balance it.
True.
Because one thing we've learned today is that it's easy to lose yourself in anything that you do, you know? So balance is key. Whatever you're doing, put your mind to it away, but balance and don't forget who you are. There's a quote that I like. I think it's from like this song. It says, whenever you're selling yourself, keep a piece of you.
Real.
You know? So don't forget that.
Real.
And anything else on your side?
Actually, the biggest question that I have, and it's going to hit home. You can talk to your 5-year-old self right now, and your 10-year-old self, and your 15-year-old self. What are you telling them?
Everything's gonna get better. Everything's gonna get better.
Okay.
But they're lost. Look
Hey,
back,
you
you were
were
lost.
Everything is gonna get better. I wouldn't be able to tell him that, everything's gonna be amazing or whatever, or some inspirational shit. Everything's gonna get better. I think that's all we can want for our younger selves is everything is gonna get better.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That is so
No,
true.
that's real, bro. Shout out to TK again, this lovely place at Shisha.
Yeah.
We're trying to get she's still on the call.
Yeah, she's still on the call, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but shout out guys. I think that's all.
I think first and foremost, want to give a big shout out to TK. Want to give a big shout out to Geisel. Very inspirational.
Facts, bro. Facts.
And
Actually, bro.
I mean, one thing I'll tell you is, see what he's telling you, he left the ego. The first time I met him, I didn't even know what he did. I thought he was such a prick. But as I got to watch him grow, talking to him is like really easy. I really value the relationship that we're building. And I really respect you as a person. I respect you as an artist. I respect you as everything that you do. I think you're very inspirational. There's a lot of people that really needed to hear your story.
100%.
There's a lot of people that really needed you. I can see that you are literally somebody that's going to do big things.
Shout out. Appreciate that, doc.
And from the podcast to you, bro, we wish you all the best with all the future endeavors, everything you put your mind into. Hope it works out for you, I hope you do find your true self, and stay true to your own identity, Shout out to you, bro.
Shout out, my chief.
You're doing great.